Good evening, everyone. So glad you are here. Our scheduled time to begin is at 6:30. It is 6:34 in the evening, and we need to go ahead and get started so that our time is well spent. We don't want to hold you hostage. We want to make sure that you get good, concise information. Try our best to answer a few questions, and then you can get on to your family dinner or watch whatever you watch on Wednesday. But as you can see, I'm still in the office, still here. Um, just because I prefer to do it here. Because when I'm at home, my children want to talk to me. And right now, I want you to have my undivided attention so we can talk to one another. I do have a special guest in the room today. I'll introduce in a second. But again, so glad you are here. I am amazed that we have been together now for 2 years and over 4 months, only to get to this point right here where I told you when we got here that our job was to prepare you to launch into your next venture. And the next venture for your beautiful students is high school, wherever they will go. And so I'm glad you're here. I'm going to go ahead and start recording. It's already recording. It's been recording the whole time. I'm so sorry because I said automatic record. How fun is that? How fun is that? So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Just know that I'm doing a couple of things in the background and production. So I'll be running the PowerPoint as well as doing some talking, but not the bulk of the talking. As we near the end of our official presentation, we'll open up the chat. Well, the chat is open to where you can ask some questions. We'll do our best, but I'll make sure that I will drop links in the chat that you will have access to where you can get some information on our webpage, on the district webpage, and my email address so you can email me directly. Even though by now you ought to know how to reach Mr. Brown. And if you haven't figured that part out, I surely apologize because that means I have not gotten to you. But just as an official introduction, my name is Jason Brown. I am currently the 8th grade counselor here at Quail Valley Middle School, home of the Mighty Raiders, QVMS. And I'm glad to be here with you tonight. I do have a special guest here with us today who is going to give us some outstanding information. She hails from Knight Road, right up the street, and is going to give us some outstanding information. Go ahead, Ms. Carter, introduce yourself.
Yes, good evening, everyone. My name is Alicia Carter. I am very excited and thankful to be a part of this evening with you tonight and hopefully be able to share some great insight. If you did not make it to our 8th grade parent night, we'll just kind of reiterate some of that information this evening.
Good deal. Thank you. I don't know if you're here, Ms. Wooten, but if you are, can you unmute and say hello to the people? I don't know if you made it in yet, but we have a good looking crowd tonight. We got about 70 plus in here. And Ms. Wooten, if you're here, say hello.
Hello. Hello.
Ms. Wooten, is that you? That's not you, Ms. Wooten. All right, maybe she'll get in a second. So what we have right here, if you notice, is our agenda. Again, we don't want to hold you long, but what I'm going to talk about, some things that we've already done as it relates to your child's 4-year plan and course selection. We'll talk about some timelines briefly that you need to make note of and be aware of. Ms. Carter will come in and talk some general high school information. Our zone campus is Elkins. And so there may be some Elkins specific information, but the bulk of it will be information that qualifies for every high school, not only in Fort Bend, but also in the state of Texas. We will not have our CTE person in. She could not come in today. She had a family emergency, so I apologize for that. But I did have the email may have gone out already to you guys from our Blackboard about the CTE expos that will be happening the week of, I want to say the second week in February. Next week, actually. It's supposed to happen next week. So I think they have two, one on the 7th and one on the 8th. So please look out for the CTE Expo email so you can go and get in-depth information about our career and technical education. And then we'll end with some Q&A. And again, the intention is not to be on here long, but to be efficient. And then, of course, you have access to me via email, and we can get some specific questions answered. I am aware that we have some very specific situations on our campus. So If you have one of those situations, again, where it's specific to your child, I would appreciate an email, and then I will answer you as quickly as I possibly can. I know I have some emails out there where I have not answered yet. That's because I've reached out to some leadership and I am waiting on an answer. And so I appreciate your patience, but we're going to make sure that your child gets the right thing for the work that they've done. All right, what's already been done? A couple of weeks ago, Elkins High School with Miss Carter, Miss Wolf, and Miss Powers, and that team, they came over and talked to our students about their 4-year plans, and they talked extensively. So when Miss Carter gets on, she is going to give you the information that they gave to our 8th graders here on campus. And if you went over to the 8th grade visit or the course selection visit for Elkins, then this will probably be a repeat of information. And it won't be very different from the ones if you went over to Clemens or if you went over to Dulles. Again, some of those campuses have some specific nuances, but in general, it's the same graduation requirements, many of the same course offerings. But we want to make sure that you get that general information, and our students did. What we actually did that day in the cafeteria, we'll pull out the available course list, the Fort Bend ISD universal course list, and they begin circling the courses that they qualify for right now. Let me pause for a second and say this. The selection that we're doing right now, the 4-year plan that we're building right now, is as if credit by exams will not happen again. It is as if summer school will not be available. When those things come, because I know that they're going to come, then you can make changes to your plan and make sure you're communicating with your high schools so that they get that stuff, as well they will. So when they get that stuff, they can update the 4-year plan, okay? But the plans that your children have built and are building are not if I take summer school, are not if I take a credit by exam, okay? We're building it as if you're not going to be able to take a CBE or if you're not able to go to summer school, all right? And then those changes can be made on the high school end, all right? So I want to make sure we get that out of the way. And so when we start asking about summer school, let me say this, and I probably said it to your child in class, the summer school information has not been released yet, and it probably will not come out until after spring break. All right. Now, one or two things can happen. You can keep emailing me and I'll send you the same answer, like it has not come out yet. I do not want to give inaccurate information. Or you can also make sure that you follow up and check the website, the district website, to make sure that that information has or has not been posted. But it is safe to say that you can wait till after spring break before they start to release any of the summer school information. All right. So Elkins High School has come. Then over the last couple of weeks, I have gone into the classrooms. I visited Mr. Webster's classroom twice. We did course selection and 4-year planning on paper. And then I came back the next day and I showed them how to put it into Skyward. And then I went to Ms. Gonzalez's class and we did the same thing where we walked through it on paper. And then I came back the next day and I showed them how to put their 4-year plan in Skyward. And then I went to Mr. DuVernay's class on Monday and Tuesday and did the very same thing where we talked about it on paper and then we went through it in Skyward. What I did do is collect their blue sheets, made copies, and they should have their copies back by now. Now, what I am asking, if you make any changes, tell your child to bring that to me so I can make a copy and put it in our folder that we're going to send off to the high schools so the high schools can have a copy of that written plan. All right, that is always a fail-safe and a backup if you make any changes. And we'll talk about those timelines for changes in a second. And so we've already done that. So you've already had 3 touch points, 3 very detailed touch points. Elkins has come. I've come into the classrooms. And now we are here. All right. I have also had some appointments and parents call or email and say, Mr. Brown, do you have any time to sit down and have a conversation? I have a lot of questions. Absolutely. As long as I'm available and I have time, if I'm not in the classroom or I'm not in a crisis or I'm not in individual counseling, absolutely, we can schedule some time and we can sit down and talk through some of the questions that you may have. That's not a problem as long as I have the time. All right. And I've already done that with students. They come by in lunch, they grab me in the hallway, they stop by the office, and we sit down and we talk about it. And one of the questions that I'm always going to ask as we're talking about 4-year planning is, what is the end goal? So that as we prepare the plan will make sense as it relates to the end goal. All right. And so as we talk about those things, I ask that you think about that prior to getting to me so that I can help you develop a plan that will get you to your end. All right. Now, some timelines. Again, this is being recorded, so we'll post it in the next 48 to 72 hours. But you might want to take a screenshot of this, take a picture of this so you have it. The last day you can make changes in Skyward to your 4-year plan is February 9th of this year at 11:59 p.m. That is the last time that you can go in. Now, the question is, well, how do I go in and make changes? You go in through your student's account, and then you all can make changes there. Okay, your students know how to do it. You can do it through career plan. That's where you change the career plan courses for whatever grade that you want to affect. Our goal was to make sure we had a strong and good 9th grade that made sense for the next years to come. And that's what the high school counselors asked us to do. Make sure that they have a good, strong foundation, a good 9th grade plan. All right. But you all can go in through your student's account, or your student can go in, your child can go in and make changes all the way to February 9th at 11:59 p.m. At midnight, that opportunity for you to go in and make changes closes. And after that, you will have to contact me. And then when they shift their information over to the high school, then you will have to reach out to the high school. But I want to do our best to make sure that we've done all that we can to get you what you need before it gets to the high school, so they don't have to do a ton of cleanup. The only cleanup that we would like the high schools to do is to make adjustments if you have taken a course over summer school or if you have taken a credit by exam. Those are the only changes we want our high schools to make. We want to do a good job in sending them good, clean information. So I'm going to ask that you spend time with your child, look over what they have chosen, what they put in, and make sure you all have that conversation. Okay? Now, parents, you have 2 things to do outside of that are you specific. One, on March 4th, course verification window opens. This is where you will go into your family access and you will look at your child's schedule. Okay. And then you all together can say, okay, this is what we requested. The requests are in. If you have the request in and you see it, then there's nothing else for you to do. If in the window of course verification, you still want to make changes, then you need to communicate with me so that we can make those changes for you on this end. And it's a couple of ways to do it. One, you can print out the verification sheet and write your notes on there, what you want changed. Or 2, you can email that sheet to me or email your desired changes to me. Either one of those work for me. All right. Now understand this. Let me say this real quickly. When you look at the verification sheet, do not look at it in terms of these classes are in order: first period, second period, third period, all the way through 7th period. These are simply requests. And it's the same thing when you look at the 4-year plan. These are not first period, second period, third period. These are simply courses that are in the plan. You will not know what period you take until they open up your availability to look at the schedule as we get closer to the fall of 2024. All right. Also, parents, your responsibility in Skyward Family Access is to go in, click on endorsement, and sign your child's endorsement. Let me repeat that because my counselor colleagues at the high school, Alicia, don't get me, but I want to say it because she'll get me before it's all over. Please go in and sign those endorsements. Please go in and sign those endorsements. Please go in and sign those endorsements. At this point right now, we probably have 95% of our students have gone in to declare their endorsements, but that number does not match the number of parents that have gone in to sign it. So please go in and sign and acknowledge that you agree with your child's endorsement choice. And do that soon because you can still change it until February 9th. Now, hear this. When you go in and change the endorsement, it will affect the 4-year plan, and you may have to make some adjustments in the 4-year plan. All right? Just want to let you know that. All right. And now, introducing, and I'm going to go silent, Miss Alicia Carter, if you are ready, come on in and take it away. And you tell me when to click forward. All right? Come on, Miss Carter.
All right, thank you very much. I'm going to have my camera off for the duration of this presentation, just so I can have a full screen. So again, we're very appreciative that everyone is here with us this evening. Main thing is we want to talk about how we can prepare your students for ninth grade. Ninth grade is the most important year of high school. It is the foundation of building your student and preparing your student for their future. Their grades determine their GPA, ranking, auto admit status, as well as any post-secondary opportunities that your student might be interested in pursuing after high school. So every year counts, but that ninth grade year is the most critical year because it's the foundation years where they're starting fresh. So what are the graduation requirements? So every student, in order to graduate from high school, they have to complete what is called the Foundation Plus Endorsement 26 credits or the Distinguished Level of Achievement. Both graduation plans require the 26 credits. However, the 26 credits on the Distinguished Graduation Plan, it requires that a student must complete Algebra 2, which allows the student to be able to meet the Distinguished Level of Achievement, which is one requirement that is part of being in the top 10% for any automatic admission for Texas Public University. The graduation requirements, which we soon will go over, you'll see they're very much the same, but the only thing that separates the foundation endorsement from the distinguished is the Algebra 2. Every student would need to complete that requirement in order to meet that graduation plan. As far as the foundation no endorsement, that's kind of a special case. That is one of those endorsements that typically a counselor will have with a one-on-one with a student who may need to look at that graduation plan. And that conversation typically does not happen until the end of the student's sophomore year. In addition to the graduation requirement, every student also must satisfy their 5 EOCs, which is testing in the area of Algebra 1, Biology, English 1, English 2, and the United States history. So what are the required core courses? Every student must complete 4 credits of English. Our ninth graders will start with English 1 or AAC English 1. For math, 4 credits. That choice definitely depends on the level the students have basically completed while they're in high school. Some of your current students may be currently enrolled in Algebra 1 or maybe even geometry. So of course, they would be moving on to the next math course in the sequence. The majority of our ninth graders will be enrolling in either Algebra 1 or Algebra 1 AAC. For science credits, each student must complete 4 credits. The choices is biology or AAC biology. Students may have to complete the biology. For those students that have completed biology in 8th grade, they will have the option of choosing either chemistry, AAC chemistry, and then also physics or AP physics as their science option. For social studies, students are required to complete 3 credits, which is required per the graduation plan. However, in high school, we do encourage students to consider completing 4 credits for social studies. The choices being world geography or AAC world geography or AP human geography. I will explain to you a little bit later in the presentation why we encourage students to consider to take 4 credits of social studies versus the 3 credits. But for the most part, all of your students will be starting with one of the 3. I do want to make sure I express to students that with AP Human Geography, at one point there was stated that there would be no level down for it. However, there is an option if your student is having some difficulty with the AP Human Geography, there is an option for them to be able to level down to AAC World Geography. World language. Every student must complete 2 credits of the same language. Presently at Elkins High School, we offer English, Spanish, French, and Chinese. And a lot of these levels can go up all the way up to level 5. Now, of course, at some other high schools, they may offer different languages. That is something I would tell you, you would have to check for each campus, what language that they offer. And you will notice on the Universal Course Selection worksheet that it will show a variety of languages. So that's where it's going to be important that you definitely reference the school that your child may be zoned to verify what languages are offered there. But as far as the total amount of credits that's required for graduation, it is a total of 2 credits, and it must be the same language. There's also the alternative for students to be able to fulfill that language requirement if your student may speak fluently in another language, read, write, and speak. It may be a perfect opportunity for your student to be able to take what is called the credit by exam. If your student is interested in taking the credit by exam, they definitely want to visit with their middle school counselor. They can take advantage of that opportunity prior to coming to high school. Or if not, once they're in high school, if they're looking to do that, there is definitely an option to do that. So the next required credit students must fulfill within the 4 years that they're in high school is every student must complete at least 1 credit in fine arts. The choices to meet that requirement is art, theater, tech theater, choir, dance, color guard, floor design, band, and orchestra. These are great opportunities for students also to get involved with extracurricular activities on campus as well. Physical education, all students must complete at least 1 credit. There's multiple ways for students who might want to fulfill that requirement. They can do it by taking the traditional PE class. They can fulfill it with the JROTC program, dance or dance team, color guard for 2 years, band for 2 years as well. And then also for those students who are taking band, of course, they have that marching component. So in the past, students used to receive a P. That will now change. Students will actually receive a grade instead of a P, which was standing for passing. And then, of course, you have your athletics. All athletic programs are for competition, so therefore students do have to try out. There's also daily commitments with a lot of these extracurricular activities that are listed to meet your physical education requirements. So with that in mind, please keep your students in consideration that these activities is some of the ways that they can meet their physical education credit requirement. Then you also have the graduation requirement of the 0.5 of speech. All students must complete professional communication or speech, which both basically is the same credit, professional communication or speech. That is one way of meeting that half a credit. Or there is an option for students to be able to take debate, which will waive the speech requirement. One thing we'll want to point out about debate, it does have fees, as well as there are some after-school commitments with it. But a great way for our students to be able to get versed into extracurricular activity on campus and also meet a graduation requirement. Then you also have the 0.5 of health. Every student at some point must also fulfill a year, a half a credit of health, or they have the option of being able to take Principle of Health Science, which also will waive the health requirement. So what is high school credit? So the best way to explain to you about high school credits are what moves your students to the next grade level toward graduation. A 4-year course basically earns your student 1 credit awarded at the end of each year. So if you took English 1, that's 1 credit. World Geography, that's another credit. That gives you a total of 2 credits. The other is a semester course. Students who will earn a half a credit awards at the end of the semester that student takes the course. For example, health, professional communication. These are high school courses that students also earn in middle school that all are included on transcripts. But the credits is what adds up to give your students as to what determines if they get to advance to the next grade level. For a student that is in the 9th grade, in order for them to be classified and move on to the next grade classification, they must have 6 or more credits in order to be classified as a 10th grader. And all grades are always posted on the transcript. So one thing that we want to make sure our students and parents are fully aware of is about attendance and tardies. So students will be determined basically, when it comes to high school, attendance is very important. It's important now, even while they're in middle school. But one thing in high school, it becomes even more important because students with attendance issues, such as 8 absences per semester, whether the absences are excused or unexcused, can be faced with what is called denied credit if they exceed over that. The state of Texas requires students to have approximately 90% seat time in order to be awarded credit for the class that they attend. If a student has more than those 8 absences per semester, they are given an opportunity to recover their credits by attending tutorials either before, after school, or maybe even Saturday, or even making up a number of hours in order to make up the number of hours missed for the class where they were denied credit for it. In addition to that, it's important for students to understand about tardies. We know a lot of time our students they feel like because the buildings are very big, they can't really get around the building, but we give every student 5 minutes, and believe me, it's enough time. So they just have to understand with tardies, they count daily for each period, and that every tardy, if they're tardy, they're checked at a tardy station, they're escorted to class. And anytime students get in a situation where they have excessive tardies, this can also cause your student to be given a discipline referral. And after a certain number of those tardies, this also can result in some other consequences that the school may issue, which could be lunch or after school tutorials or Saturday detention, things of those natures. So these are things that we really want to have students to be mindful of and have parents really talk to students about the importance of being in class, because number one, that is how you learn, as well as if you're tardy all the time, you're missing out on some essential information as well. So what is an endorsement? So an endorsement is basically a personal part of the student's high school experience. The best way I like to try to explain it is it's almost like choosing a college major. It's allowing the students to be able to focus on a particular area and also be able to complete a coherent sequence of courses that falls in a particular pathway. These classes provide your student with a very specialized knowledge and skill to prepare them for things after high school, as well as exposure and different things while they're in school. Not all pathways will start with a principal class. When you view your course selection list, you will see that there's a lot of courses listed underneath the different endorsements. Presently, we have 5 endorsement areas. We have arts and humanity, we have business industry, we have multidisciplinary, we have STEM, and we have arts and humanity. Each one of those endorsements, in order for the student, in order to meet one of those endorsements, it's very important that they're choosing the first course that falls on the course list under the area that they have declared as their endorsement. Not all pathways, again, will start with a principal course. For example, like your fine arts, if they're planning to be a student that's going to participate in band all 4 years, or maybe JROTC, those classes aren't going to be listed as a principal course. When your students choose their pathway, again, it is expected that they must choose one of the credits in that pathway as one of their electives. That is how a student starts following the correct coherent sequence in order to meet the endorsement that they have declared. All 4 credits of that pathway is what allows your student to earn the endorsement by the time they graduate. The multidisciplinary requires students to have 4 credits of core courses, which is in each area of the 4 content areas. That's where we was explaining why we encourage students to consider to take 4 credits of social studies versus the 3 credits, because it allows those students who may not necessarily know what they really want to do. This allows them the flexibility to do what is called the multidisciplinary. as well as you have some students, they're in 8th grade. They're going to choose an endorsement right now. And they're like, okay, I think I want to become a doctor. And they start taking maybe the first principal class. And then they're kind of like, you know what? I don't want to do that. I want to change to something else. They change to something else their sophomore year. And then they're like, you know what? I don't want to do that. So this allows those students, if they complete what is called the multidisciplinary, the 4 content area, it allows them that flexibility and also give them the opportunity to make sure that they meet an endorsement by the time they graduate. With the multidisciplinary, it requires them a course they have to take at some point, chemistry or physics. That's the requirement there. As far as the STEM endorsement, this pathway must include Algebra 2, of course, as well as chemistry and physics. That's the only thing that is different with the STEM. And then, of course, whatever other pathway that you may be pursuing, whether that's engineering, whether that's computer science, or whether that is math, or even if you're doing science as your STEM endorsement. And then, of course, you have the James Reese Center. There are many options available for students. I think Mr. Brown mentioned earlier about the expo that's coming up. We really encourage students and parents to participate in that, that it's a great way for you to be able to find out about the different careers that are offered and the programs that are offered at the Reese Center. That will also help you in knowing exactly what your student might be able to experience while they're in high school. So, changes to endorsement and pathways. So I want to make sure that our students coming into high school, that they're aware that each course in a pathway is definitely restricted by grade level. So for example, only a 9th grader can take a principal course. If a 10th grader wants to take or start or change their pathway, they will need to double up on the first and the second course in the pathway if the prerequisite does not require one of those courses. Any 3rd and 4th year course in a endorsement pathway presently has been stated will count with an AAC weight. The difference is that as students progress through high school and progress through their endorsement pathway, it's important for them to understand that they have to make sure that they're following the courses that falls in that pathway in order to meet that endorsement, as well as if they decide later on in grade 11 that, oh, you know what, I think I want to take the Principle of Health Science class. Unfortunately, that's one of those situations where the student would not be eligible to take it because, again, it's restricted to students in grade 9 and 10. If for any reason students complete fundamentals of computer science when they're in 8th grade, we recommend that the students take AAC Computer Science 1 before jumping into AP Computer Science. AP Computer Science and Fundamental Computer Science, one of the things is that they're 2 very different languages, and students do struggle when they jump from fundamental straight into AP Computer Science. So we really do encourage our students to follow the recommendation as we're trying to make sure and we're setting students up for success and not failure. Principle of Health Science pathway. For students who believe that they may be interested in pursuing or attending anything at the Reese Center for this pathway, it's important that they understand that they cannot take the Principle of Health Science course on their home campus. For a student who is interested in looking at pursuing something in the medical field and they're wanting to take the Principle of Health Science class, it's important that they understand that they will not want to take it their freshman year. They would want to wait until their 10th grade year, and they would want to apply for the Reese Center if they're wanting to take the practicum program that is offered at the Reese Center. Now, if you have a student who is interested in pursuing the medical field, but they're not interested in applying to the Reese Center, there is a pathway available on the campus that would allow them to be able to take the Principle of Health Science their freshman year and be able to continue to take the remaining courses on the campus without having to wait till their 10th grade year to take Principle of Health Science. So, next slide, please. Online courses, online course selection process. As Mr. Brown mentioned earlier, all students will complete their course selection online through Skyward, using their career plan to sign up for the courses that they plan to take for their 9th grade year. The deadline date is February the 9th. Of course, students definitely have the option to make changes, play with their 10th and 11th grade year all they want, but we want to make sure that their 9th grade year, that their courses that they're planning to take is solid and exactly what they want. And the reason why I'm saying that is because there are no more changes that students will be able to make after the course verification. The district does not allow for any elective changes once school starts in August. So you want to make sure that your students, when they choose their classes, make sure they're choosing them wisely, make sure that they decide what courses that they're wanting to take as far as AAC as well as AP. A lot of times we like to make sure students and parents are fully aware that our AAC and AP courses are much more rigorous than at the middle school. We want our students and parents to keep in mind that as students work through their course selection choices, think about all the activities that your students might be involved with. We want our students to be well-rounded, but we also want them to be very healthy, as well as making sure that they are not taking on a load that may hinder them from being as successful as they're capable of being. So keep that in mind, and also talk with your present teachers to find out which courses might be beneficial for you to take as AAC, as well as any AP course that you may decide that you want to take. Because one thing about our AAC and AP courses, in order for students to be able to level down from any of those courses, students will have to wait until the 4th week of school, and they must have a below a 75 as per the Fort Bend ISD policy in order to level down in the course. So just definitely keep that in mind, because we definitely don't want any of our students to be unsuccessful. Any student who is interested in wanting to level up, of course, we want those students to reach out to their counselor as soon as possible, because we don't want them to fall too far behind. So there's no really wait time on that. It's important that all students make sure they follow the prerequisites that are within the course guide. Even if you want to know course description, or if you're wanting to know whether a course is a semester, or if a course is the weight of a course, all of that information can be found within the course selection guide. Okay, universal course selection choices. So please know that not all of the courses that are listed on the course list that you receive from your students, that is a list that is basically used throughout the entire district. So quite naturally, it's very important that students make sure that they list their courses that they want to take, but also make sure that they list alternate choices on their worksheet as well as in Skyward. Because if for any reason your students sign up for a course that may not be offered at that campus, they're going to need to know, counselors are going to need to know what is your alternative choice that you may want to sign up for. As well as if your students sign up for a course and they don't meet the prerequisite, that is another reason why we would need to refer to your alternate request. So you want to have that information listed on your worksheet, as well as to put your alternate choices in Skyward as well. As well as sometimes there are conflicts in schedules to where either we don't have teachers to teach it, or maybe there's a conflict in the schedule where it doesn't work in your student schedule to where we may have to refer to any alternate choices. So why is it important to verify my courses? As I mentioned to you previously before, what your student chooses is basically what helps determine what we offer, as well as sometime if for any reason that your student decides that they're wanting to change anything, they would have to do it during that course verification window, which would be from March 4th through the 8th. That is going to be the last opportunity your student will have to make any changes to their selection for the 2025 school year. Once school starts, There will be no changes. If for any reason your students sign up for an AAC or an AP course, and maybe they're like, you know what, I don't want to do that, there is an opportunity for them to reach out to their counselor in the summer by email, and they can make that changes as long as it's before school. Once school start, students will have to wait those 4 weeks before they will be able to start the request for that process. Summer online courses. If you're interested in any summer school courses, you want to definitely speak with your middle school counselor. That information will come out sometime in after spring break or April. It's just important for students to understand that as they're talking about taking any online classes, typically we kind of encourage students to look at taking things that are not required as far as core courses. You want to kind of stay away from those. You want to look more like maybe like your electives, the fine arts, or maybe like your speech and health credit. Those are some great opportunities for students. If you're looking to take any courses online, it's important for students and parents to understand there is a limit as to how many credits students can earn within the duration of being in high school. It's a total of 2 full credits that can be earned online with either TTU or UT. Those are the approved vendors with the district. Any of those online programs that you think your student may be interested in, it's important that you understand they must seek counselor approval before signing up for any one of those courses, or they would be in jeopardy of not receiving credit for a course that they signed up for it and did not receive counselor approval. We do not recommend students taking math or other core courses online. As I mentioned, students are best served, of course, anytime that they're in front of a teacher and not teaching themselves. Of course, if there's anything that the district offers that is something that is a 4-year, that is something for you to be able to consider. But again, it's not really necessary for a student to take any courses because it's unless they're definitely trying to fit something in their schedule and it just doesn't work. It's definitely an option. But keep in mind, any credit that you take outside and is reported to the school, all grades are earned online, are reported and added to the high school transcript and will be part of your GPA calculation. So just a few reminders. Your middle school counselors are able to field any questions that you may have. As much as we would love to be able to assist and answer questions, we have to have respective to work with our current student on our campus. So any questions, we ask that you respectfully please direct them to your middle school counselor. Any reason they are unaware of the answer, they can always reach out to the high school campuses to get assistance with those questions for you. If your student want to make any changes after that window closes, again, they will have that opportunity in March during the course verification. Please make those changes. Make whatever type of notes, even if your students plan to take anything in the summer, you can make all kind of notes you want on there. It's any information that will be helpful to the counselor to be able to understand what it is that your student is planning to do. That is what we welcome. Just want to make sure that you're aware again that that will be their last opportunity to change any courses for the 2025-26 school year, unless it's a counselor error. So just a few quick tips for parents. Just please be mindful, again, when signing your students up for AAC courses, especially if they're involved with any extracurricular activities. Just think about the time that is required for each of those. Because it's important. Colleges like to see students that are well-rounded, as well as we want to make sure our students are healthy. And so they have a healthy balance is how we like to say it. The AAC courses at the high school level, as stated before, they're a lot more rigorous and they definitely require more time for homework assignments than your honors courses at the middle school level. Checking your course verification is going to be important. That's going to be, again, huge for our students to make sure that they're in what they want to take or have the opportunity to change anything that they want to change. When selecting band, please make sure you include the PMBO 1 for the PE portion. This is how your student will get their PE credit if your student will be signing up for band. Also, the Principle of Health Science, again, it is a full year and it will waive the requirement for health if your student elects to take it, as well as debate. Students can take debate. It also can fulfill their requirement for speech. Elkins will follow all prerequisites set forth by the district, so please refer to your course selection guide for more information. And I just want to add this, which is not a part of this right now, but one of the things is also your student will have to look forward to when they get to high school is there are some opportunities for your students, especially when they become juniors and seniors, opportunity for taking courses that are dual credit. And they'll hear more about those options when they get into high school. But I just wanted to share that dual credit is basically an opportunity for students to be able to take college and high school credit at the same time. As well as we also offer courses such as on-ramps, which is another form of students being able to take college courses and also receiving high school. But again, you'll hear more about that, and you also can reference the course catalog to find out more about dual credit and on-ramp courses. Mr. Brown, I think I'll give it back to you. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. Let me ask you a question real quick.
Sure thing. I think you may be mute.
Yeah. Okay. Do you hear me? Do you like coffee?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Got you. I got you covered. I got you covered. Something to be coming for you. I may just drop it off on campus because I really appreciate you. And the reason why I wanted the high school person here is so they speak with a different authority than I do. You know, I know what I know, but they live it every day. And we want to make sure you all get the right stuff. So I'm looking at a couple of questions in here. Can you do the summer online courses every summer of 2 credits for the entire 4 years?
No, it is a total of 2 credits total. So keep in mind, if you're deciding that you're wanting to take, I'm going to use computer science as an example. Computer science is a full year. So therefore, that's 1 credit. So you would take that 1 class, that's 1 credit, 1 summer. Then you have another summer that you can take either a half a credit or another full year, and that will give you your total of 1 full credit. That is your 2 total credits for the duration of high school.
All right. Let me get to this bottom question so it's a easy answer. Is on-ramps available at all high schools or just at Dulles? That's across the district.
I want to say that it is, but again, that is going to be a campus by campus because I know at Elkins we offer Algebra 2 and Pre-Cal, and now we're going to be offering AP Bio. So I can't speak or attest to what other campuses offer, right. So that may not necessarily be accurate for all campuses.
And consider this, that's a ways down the road for some of you guys. And so just remember, our focus for our time really that we've been spending doing our plan is really making sure you have that 9th grade year correct. That is so important, so important.
Right. As well as, here's the thing, you're doing a plan. So therefore, you will revisit your plan every year when we do course selection. So as Mr. Brown just stated, you want to focus primarily on grade 9. You want to make sure that you're signing up for what you want to take, which will lead into what you want to do for the next, possibly next 3 years while you're in high school.
Right. Mr. Brown, can Algebra 2 on-ramps and AP pre-calculus be taken in the same year?
What was that again? Was it Algebra 2
can Algebra
and
2 on-ramps and AP pre-cal be taken in the same year?
No, that's a prereq. So it's important that for when you want to look at courses that you're interested in, always reference the course catalog. That's going to tell you if there's a prerequisite to the course. So no, that would be inaccurate.
Let's see, whom do we contact? Oh, can you expound more on health science class and how it relates to the endorsement? Let me jump on that real quickly. Whenever you look at your endorsements and your courses, again, she keeps referring to the 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 course manual that is available on the district website. And so all of those courses are in sequence. And so as it relates to the health science, it will begin with principles of health science, then it goes to medical terminology, and then it grows from there. And so as it relates to the medical endorsement, they are talking about medical field stuff and the like. As it relates to the recenter, and somebody asked this earlier, so I'll address it. What we've been told by the recenter, and even as you look on the universal course list, is those recenter classes do not begin as freshmen. They start in the sophomore year, and they want those kids that have that endorsements to begin that at the recenter. Okay, but if you just look at the course flow and then read it in the course guide, you'll see how it flows better. Who do we contact in regards to AP online courses that can be taken outside during the summer for ninth graders? Again, when the summer stuff is released, I will send it out to you. Again, you can go look on the department website, department tab on the website, and that'll give you the information for who to contact in the summer school office. But that stuff has not been officially released yet. I promise you that I will send out an email when the summer school stuff is released, just like we'll send it out for credit by exam. For James Reese, you can maybe answer this better, Ms. Carter, because I've seen a couple of different things. Okay, summer school.
Yes.
Yeah, you see that one?
I can answer that. Yeah.
Let me say this one. Let me say this summer school one more time. We don't know when it will officially open. Okay, that has not been released yet. The date that it opened last year may be different than this year. Know when it opens. As soon as it opens, I will send out that information to you. Or you can just make sure that you check in with the summer school tab on the Fort Bend ISD website. Okay, but that's normally not going to happen until after spring break. Go ahead with the recenter.
Okay, so I think the question was, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get back up to, okay. For James, for instance, do students take specific classes there in reading classes? Yes, that is an excellent question. So yes, the way the James Reese Center works is students take, they take whatever the program course that they signed up or approved to take over at the Reese Center. That may be 3 class periods. They have an AM, which is 3 class periods at the Reese Center, and then they have 4 classes in the PM. So with it is they take part of the classes at their home campus, and then they take the other courses, which could be 3 or 4 at the James Reese Center.
Okay, we have about 2 minutes left, and then this is gonna end. Let's see. What do we have here? Do the kids have to take a pathway course every year? I think I just responded to that. Especially if they come with some. My understanding is that yes, it is definitely 4 credits in that particular pathway. It is 4 credits in that pathway. The design is for a student to take a class in that pathway all 4 years while they are in high school. That is the design of it. And okay, so going back to LP, even that information I don't have yet. And so if that releases before I get it in terms of outside courses, then I'll share that with you. But that information, no summer school information has come this way as of yet. And again, once I get it, I promise I'll get it to you. Let me share my screen real quickly so you know where you can find some of these things so you don't have to hunt it down.
So while you're doing that, one parent asked the difference between the dual credit and on-ramps.
Yeah, great question.
So dual credit is basically, it's a course that is taught by a Fort Bend ISD teacher or possibly an HCC professor online or in person. The difference with the dual credit is that the student takes the course and they earn the credit based off if they pass, right? Or they earn, yes, the college credit based off they pass. They are a college student first, and they are a high school student second, right? They have to adhere to all of the college requirements, attendance, grade policy, and things of that nature in order to basically be dual credit and earn the credit. On-ramps is still the same form, but the difference is the student is more like, it's almost like self-study. They're more independent. It's student-centered driven learning versus teacher-driven. Whereas with the HCC, you have a teacher that's actually teaching you the subject and everything. Whereas with the on-ramps, the student is basically driving the learning. It's very independent versus the dual credit.
Okay, let me show you this real quickly. And then again, I put my email. Let me put my email in here real quickly because we got to get out of here. And I love the question. So again, please feel free to email me. But let me show you this real quickly. Of course, this is our website. You go to our counseling page, and I'm going to drop this link in the chat. You see, I have our course selection tab. And what we have here is the universal course list, the worksheet, and the link to the course guide. Okay? So I know I'm kind of rushing off here, but we are down to like 1 minute, literally. But I want to make sure that you have access. But the fact that you are here is a testament, that you've probably been to this page before, because this is where you got the link to be here. And so I appreciate you guys. Again, any other questions, students, if you're in here, come by my office. Parents, please shoot me an email. Again, I'm glad you are here, and I look forward to sending your students off and launching them into the next portion of their life. Ms. Carter, I have a gift that'll be coming to you before you can say Jackie Robinson. All right. You guys have a safe evening. Thank you for being here. I know we didn't get to every question, but again, please email me and give us 48 hours to get to that answer. And if I don't have the answer, I'll find it. Last thing, real quick. Some of your students were looking at the 4-year plan and didn't see their biology. That does not mean they're not getting the credit. I'm not sure why it's not there. I'm still waiting on an answer because I've asked our upper management and that answer has not come yet, but you will get the credit because I know you're going to get an A in biology because you guys are fantastic students. Hey, I love you. Looking forward to it. Our students would end it by saying, QNO. Y'all have a good evening. Bye now.
Bye.